Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Hard Things Podcast. This is your host, Blaine Burgess. And today is episode 70. I kind of do my podcast in sequences of 7. So this is the 10th sequence since I started the podcast. I did take about a quarter-long break, so 3 months. But aside from that, going strong, feeling good about podcasting. There's just an absolute sea of information out there, but I'm creating this really honestly first and foremost for myself. And I'm the kind of person that if something's not perfect in the past, I would drop it and never kind of keep going with it. But for some reason, this feels important to me. And at the very worst, it's an archive of me and what I was going through and what I was thinking about in this time. Like I said, a kind of public journal. So just kind of reflecting on that, finishing the 10th sequence here is it's a cool thing. It's something I'm definitely proud of myself for just stepping out, trying something new, put something out into the world, see what happens. And I'm sure it'll have rewards and consequences that I still don't even know about yet or understand. So here goes nothing. Episode 70. And speaking of all of that kind of deep talk, today's topic, the 7th genius feature of Leonardo da Vinci and kind of fitting is connectedness, or really, to be more specific, interconnectedness. Seeing the invisible thread between all things, which is really a spark of creativity. So to take it back a little bit, we have like diversity of pursuits. We have arts, we have sciences, we have curiosity. Curiosity makes you dive deep, kind of get a little bit of the tism in you. Go really, really deep on something, learn about it. And the more information you learn, the more wisdom you gain. Information plus feeling. You kind of start to learn the truth about life ever so slowly. And the more truth you know, the more you're going to be able to synthesize new ideas. You're going to take ideas that are completely unrelated and bring them together like a good old mashup. That's a really simple thing in music, just a remix, using one song's beat and the other song's lyrics or whatever it may be. But it also could be, the way that brands collaborate nowadays. That's another easy way to see it. So just like, some business sponsoring the Dallas Cowboys, now you associate these two unrelated things together, and the association creates a bond that is either successful and drives the success of both individual brands, or people don't get it and it fails. One example I was talking about with a friend recently is ESPN and ESPN Bet. I think it's pretty tough for a Disney-owned company to succeed at sports gambling. I thought that when ESPN Bet first came out, and they recently ended that venture after 2 years. So I think the sports gambling market's pretty well saturated, and again, a Disney company doing sports gambling, it kind of seems wrong. A little bit of a money grab, and they already kind of do a lot of money grabs. Making 20 Avengers movies and kind of beating the dead horse. So anyways, I have some strong feelings about Disney, but that's a good example of interconnectedness. And I think, too, another way to think about it, not only in kind of high-profile brands or, like I said, like music or things that are overtly out in the open, it's also interconnectedness of all the hidden things. I recently had a conversation with a different friend where I think in my like studies and travels and seeking truth, I really had to face my own dark side. I think everyone at some point in their life operates under the illusion that they are, 100% a good person and could never do anything evil, and maybe judgmental of people who have done evil things. And at a certain point in life, things are not going to go your way, and you're going to get upset and you're going to do something awful. And you can either face the fact that you did something awful or delude yourself and tell you that you're not an awful person for doing that said act. And you can also get into this game of 0 or 1. I'm either good or bad. And either wallow in self-pity about the fact that you did something bad, or say like, hey, I know I'm a good person. I'm grounded in who I am, and I did a bad thing, and genuinely apologize to the inflicted parties, and then genuinely make an effort to change your behavior. And it just takes like a level of maturity that I think sometimes only comes from pain. I think that's a Jung quote, maybe, is all coming to consciousness is through pain, or something to that effect. So interconnectedness is a blessing in a lot of ways, because we can connect to other people and the best parts of them. And when our best parts connect, that's when magic happens. But when someone is not conscious of their dark side, you have to not only be conscious of your own dark side, but also be conscious of theirs. And it's a crazy thing that I found myself being able to do is, for a long time I didn't trust myself to handle my own self, my own dark side. And I had ignored it for so long, it was just coming out in ways that I didn't even understand or see. But once I accepted that and kind of integrated it, and said like, okay, you're a part of me, but I'm not going to feed into it. You ultimately free yourself of those destructive behaviors. You're able to make a different choice. And so I think that's the beginning. You think it's kind of the end. You're like, oh, thank God I finally figured this out. But then you realize that there are billions of people in the world that have not yet done this work for themselves. And it's really tough work. I went through it. At a certain point, I think you have a choice, until life just requires of you that, hey, we need you to be conscious and awake and not do these things anymore. So your time kind of runs out, and it forces you to face the music in one way or another. And so I face the music, but now that when you do face the music, you realize that like, man, I wasted a lot of time, not being the best version of myself. So you can kind of become that for other people. You can kind of show them these things, maybe in a bit of a kinder way than if you just let life take them down. And I think that's really the essence of caring for people. So, like I said, interconnectedness is a blessing, but it also comes with a responsibility to watch out for yourself, to watch out for others. Like, if you just, say, oh, that person's stuck in a doom loop, and, I don't feel safe. Well, all that can be true, and I think life is presenting you an opportunity to help that person and also become more confident and sure of yourself. Because it's one thing to do it for yourself, but if you're able to repeat that and help people, you can make the world a better place, which is ultimately going to make us all safer and all it's going to get you some teammates to help you solve the problems that we face as a race, as a human, group of people inhabiting this planet. So we can keep going down the paths that we have been. But I think with all that pain comes people who are awakening, like myself, and I'm sure others who have been forced to wake up. And so, yeah, I have personally taken this as my responsibility when I care for someone to be there for them. And I can honestly tell you, in the process of trying to do this, if you really tune in to your heart, you can understand when to use kind of like more harsh methods and words, and like a cold shoulder used for malice like turns into just super calm silence. And it's all about like what emotion you're feeling in your body when the silence is happening. It's a silence that it can be a silence that encourages someone to fill that space with something, and hopefully something beneficial. Or it can be with anger, and it requires the person that you're trying to assist to tap in to their feelings and feel if you're actually angry or if they're just making that assumption. And if they really tap in and feel like, hey, this person cares for me and they want me to step up, then it becomes possible for them to step up. But with anger or not giving like space for them to do the work, that can be a tricky scenario where that little spark of brilliance, that little miracle, like can't happen. So it's like this weird dance of using positive and negative reinforcement and also using pressure and space. And somewhere in that like X and Y axis of those traits, you got to just keep moving your little dot around. Because as you press one button, say you kind of give like positive pressure and encouragement, and then you realize the person's not responding, or they're shutting down, or like their, tactic, whatever they do is changing, then as soon as they change, you got to understand what they're doing and just mirror that for them. You have maybe a negative pressure, and just like tell someone like, hey, this really hurt me and you really need to clean this up. Whereas positive pressure would be like, hey, I know you're a great person and like you got this. And so you have those two options. And you also have, positive space is like, hey, good example would be like, hey, I'm just going to take the weekend to clear my head. Like, you should do the same, and we'll talk on like Monday, or a negative pressure would be like, hey, this dynamic doesn't work for me. Like, if you'd like to alter the dynamic in some way that benefits both of us, then, come talk to me. And like these tools, I've used all four of them with success. And I failed at using all four of them. I realized I was using them at the wrong time. So through trial and error, you learn how to be more accurate with what someone actually needs, like, and not giving them what they want. Because what they want is for you to maybe just feed into their kind of comfort zone. Like whatever keeps them in their comfort zone, they're going to want you to do that. And you have to just gently push them right to the edge of it and over just a little bit. By giving them, once again, what they need and not what they want. And I think like where we're at in society is people aren't confident or strong enough. They're not using discipline to push themselves to be this type of person for people, because that type of person is often not liked. But the more I become the person that's not really liked, the more I realize I'm the person that people love, like actually love, like deep down underneath. And maybe they're not going to verbally admit it to you. It's really subtle and hard to tell. But when you start to get really skillful and use these tools wisely, you're able to still connect with people despite their struggles, despite, them going through the same thing you once went through. And the fact that you went through it means you can recognize it and kind of know more accurately what they need. And then through doing it, through repetition of trying to be with people over and over and over, you start to realize, the truth. You start to realize what's really best for people, what's best for yourself, and then you can kind of hold yourself more accountable and live to a higher standard. And that's, we've proven in life that we can all race to the bottom and burn this thing down. And like mutually assured destruction, Cold War. Like we can have a Cold War. We can have COVID and we can have people isolated and committing suicide and all these things. But if everyone just took responsibility for one other person, the way that I'm talking about, like the world would be entirely better. Like nearly, it's not going to be overnight, but within weeks, months, you would see improvement in these individual people and same improvement in the world. And now doing that would be definitely unstable. We have a homeostasis inside of our body, and we have homeostasis as a, country, a community, and the world, global, like economy, whatever you want to name. But literally the only thing you can control in this whole equation is if you're going to try to take care of someone today. And if you're really good, maybe it's 2 or 3 friends and maybe a loved one. And those people who are handling, a group of like 5 to 10 people in their close community, and maybe even show kindness to a stranger, genuinely changing the world. It seems small, seems insignificant. It's easy to brush up against a person that's really struggling and get discouraged. And I've had all those things happen, but as I round the corner into old age, tomorrow, turning 35, I just have seen the light, so to speak. I've faced the deepest depths of myself and who I am. And in facing that darkness, you can become skilled at facing it in others. And like I said, I really believe that's the only way we're going to change the way things are and make it better for people. And the more success you have at that, the more people are going to want to join in. So I know I'm very, very early on in my journey of this type of living. But the more that I dive deep and do that inner work for myself, the more opportunities seem to present themselves for me in the outside world, the external world outside of myself. So I'm looking forward to kind of the next chapter. Like I said, this is a series of 7 episodes on Leonardo da Vinci, kind of coming to an end today. And I look forward to finding kind of the next topic for the next set of episodes. And I look forward to, right now, heading into week 12 of 15 of this current trimester in chiropractic school. And I got a couple of tough weeks ahead of me with practicals and final exams. But I'm confident of my ability to handle it, and I'm really looking forward to a big, rest, like a 4-week. We get 4 weeks off over Christmas and New Year's. And I'm going to have to study for my board exams and take some space, go back to Ohio, see my family, and all of that. I just look forward to that so heavily. And I also know, because I'm looking forward to that I'm also going to have the time and space and ability to continue to dive deep into myself and find those clues that will allow me to help others. Because through the concept of interconnectedness, I realize that helping others is really helping myself. Like I said, if you change one person, they could change dozens of people. That splinter effect, or a ripple effect, can affect hundreds of people just from a small kindness that you do. So nothing that you do is too small. If it's positive, it's affecting the world in a good way, and we have to do it. And ultimately, when you do that, you make the world a safer place for everyone else and ultimately yourself. Any love that you give away will come back to you. And I am reminded of this all the time. And again, you give away the love and it might not happen right away, but it's like the law of karma. Just positive action yields positive result. And it's not going to be always exactly what you want it to be or what you think it should be. But it's just, at this point in my brain, from what I've seen, what I've felt, what I've heard, it's just a fact. So I highly recommend using Leonardo's 7 genius qualities. And most importantly, think about the concepts, but then, like one of the chapters says, the demonstration chapter, like, get out there and live it. Take your knowledge, put it to the test, and feel the results. If you feel it, good or bad, that turns into wisdom. And you can use that to continue making yourself better and to ultimately change the world. So with that, I am going to go get out of here. Upload this and get ready to cross over into the age of 35 and enjoy my birthday weekend a little bit. So until next time, y'all, see you.